Hi everyone. Today I'd like to read a book by Gary Paulson, one of my favorite childhood authors. He wrote books called The Hatchet, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and The River, another good one. This one's called Lawn Boy. It's a short story, but I started reading this to my students a couple years ago. It's about a young 12-year-old boy who learns about a lawnmower that his grandfather left him, and he starts a little business, and the things that happen during this are just hilarious. And so I just love this book. I hope you enjoy it too. So it starts with a little foreword. I don't have a clue how this will all end. There are people now who say I'm some kind of wonder boy, or that I know some secret and that I had this big hairy plan. Nope. One minute I was 12 years old and wondering where I could get enough money for an inner tube for my old used 10-speed. I didn't have any money, and my parents didn't have much either. My mom is a teacher at an experimental school, and my dad's an inventor. Sometimes it takes a long time to work out a new idea. This was one of those times, so we were a little bit broke. Mom and I have learned not to ask too many questions about what he's doing, because if we do, he wants to use us as guinea pigs, and we've learned our lesson during what we now refer to as the voice-activated door incident. Dad swears Mom's nose is as cute as ever, and I don't notice anything different about it, but she still touches it gingerly when he starts talking about some big new idea he's got going. The next minute, it seems, I've got a business of my own with employees, and I'm rich. I better explain. It all began at 9 in the morning on my 12th birthday when my grandmother gave me an old riding lawnmower. Okay, Chapter 1, The Principles of Economic Expansion. My grandmother is the kind of person who always thinks that no matter how bad things might seem, everything will always come out right in the end. Her hair could be on fire, and she'd probably say, well, at least we have light to read by. She's the most positive person in the world, and amazing and fun to be around, but in a strange and happy way, she seems to be about 9 bricks shy of a full load. You can say, I think the Yankees will win the World Series again. And she'll answer, yes, but it's still nice to put carrots in stew for the flavor. And you think that somewhere inside that brain maybe a screw came loose. Then you find out that the last time the Yankees won the World Series, she made a stew and forgot to put carrots in, and blamed the Yankees. She'd never liked them anyway. When the stew tasted funny, she still doesn't like the Yankees. It all makes sense if you wait long enough. She says, so when I turned 12, she came to the house with an old riding lawnmower in the back of her Toyota pickup. Happy birthday, she said. It used to belong to your grandfather. He was always working on it. I thought you might like it. A mower? Though we lived on the edge of what was termed an upper-middle-class neighborhood, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, our house was small, a fixer-upper, when my folks bought it 4 years ago. It had a yard the size of a postage stamp, and the grass never seemed to grow enough to need mowing. It just sprouted, stopped, gave up, and died, over and over. My father and I lifted the mower down from the truck bed. A lawnmower? I looked at Grandma. Thanks. My bridge club is meeting on Thursday night, she said, getting back into her truck, which makes it hard to watch CSI since it's on Thursday too. Did you know that? And she drove away before I could answer her, much less wait for the part where it made sense. It appears you now have a lawnmower, my father said, smiling, as he walked back into the house. I don't know what the connection with her bridge club was either, although I'm sure there is one. She's your mom's mother. Maybe your mom will know what that meant. I looked at the mower, very old, low, small. It looked like it only cut about a 2-foot wide area, and it was nothing like the fancy new machines. The seat was steel without a pad, and the driver's feet went over the top of the mower to rest on 2 foot pedals. One was a brake, and the other a clutch that you had to push down to get the mower moving. It steered with 2 levers, like a very small bulldozer, and looked more like a toy than a mower. Okay, since I was 12, I didn't have much experience with motors. I've never even had a dirt bike or a four-wheeler. I'm just not machine-oriented. My birthday present sat there. I tried pushing it towards our garage, but it didn't seem to want to move. Even turning around to put my back against it and push with my legs, which I thought might give me better leverage, didn't help. It still sat there. So I studied it. On the left side of the motor was a small gas tank, and I unscrewed the top and looked in. Yep, there's gas. On top of the tank were two levers. The first was next to pictures of a rabbit and a turtle. Even though I'm not good with machines, I figured out that was the throttle, and the pictures meant fast and slow. The other lever said on/off. I pushed on. Nothing happened, of course. On the very top of the motor was a starting pull rope. What the heck, why not? I gave it a jerk, and the motor sputtered a little, popped once, then died. I pulled the rope again, and the motor hesitated, popped, and then roared to life. I jumped back, no muffler. Once when I was little, my grandmother, in her usual logic-defying fashion, answered my request for another cookie by saying that my grandfather had been a tinkerer. He was always puttering with things, taking them apart, putting them back together. When he was around, nothing ever broke. Nothing ever dared to break. Loud as the mower was, it still wasn't moving, and the blade wasn't going around. I stood looking down at it. This strange thing happened. It spoke to me. Well, not really. I'm not one of those woo-woo people or a whack job. At least I don't think I was. Maybe I am now. Anyway, there was some message that came from the mower through the air and into my brain. A kind of warm, or maybe a settled feeling. Like I was supposed to be there, and so was the mower. The two of us. Like it was a friend. So all right, I know how that sounds too. We'll sit under a tree and talk to each other, read poems about mowing. Totally whack. But the feeling was there. Next I found myself sitting on the mower. My feet on the pedals. I moved the throttle to the rabbit position. It had been on turtle, and pushed the left pedal down, and the blade started whirling. The mower seemed to give a happy leap forward off the sidewalk, and I was mowing the lawn, or dirt. As I said, we didn't really have much of a lawn. Dust and bits of dead grass flew everywhere, and until I figured out the steering, the mailbox, my mother's flowers near the front step, and a small bush were in danger. But in a few minutes I got control of the thing, and I sheared off what little grass was there. The front lawn didn't take long, but before I was done, the next-door neighbor came to the fence. Attracted by the dust cloud, he waved me over. I stopped in front of him, pulled the throttle back, and killed the engine. The sudden silence was almost deafening. I stood up away from the mower, my ears humming so I could hear him. "You mow lawns?" he asked. "How much?" And that was how it all started.